Remember, every week we ask you 4 questions. We ask you to consider 4 questions when anybody ever presents an investment opportunity, whether it's real estate, whether it's securities, whether it's a business, whether it's your cousin Vinny wanting to open up a tanning salon, whatever it is, you've got to ask these 4 questions. So get your paper and pen out or put it on your iPad or whatever you use. The first question is, what's the return on my investment? Very important. I mean, how much money am I going to make? Secondly, when do you get that return? When do you get it along with the principal? Because if somebody tells you the return on investment is 50%, and then you ask, when do I get it? And they say 5 years, really it's only 10% annualized. So it's very important that you ask, when do you get that return on the investment? Thirdly, you always want to ask, what's the investment amount? What is the minimum just even to get in? And fourthly, what's the risk? What's the worst case scenario? Sam McDadi, it is so wonderful to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
I think, are we going dancing afterwards? I didn't get the memo.
That was kind of part of the agenda.
Listen, I come over to your house a couple times a month. We play some cards, and you always look like this. You're always styling.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're always looking good.
So are you.
And, I've dropped a few pounds, and so now I want to look a little dapper, if I can.
Lean and mean.
So, yes. Sam, we are going to talk about how to make money in real estate investing. I mean, yes, you sell 600-700 homes per year. You are #1 at the Toronto Real Estate Board year after year, and I think the Toronto Real Estate Board is the largest board in all of North America. So really, you're the #1 individual agent, based on numbers in all of North America in terms of board-wise. I think it's phenomenal. But I wanted you to come on the show to talk about investing in real estate, a little bit about something that's very innovative that you're doing, and that's the whole auction of houses as opposed to just the MLS. And so we'll talk about all that kind of stuff. But I want to start off by just saying, what's going on? Are you having fun? We switched from one of the biggest brands to our own brand, Sam McDadi Real Estate. Tell me a little bit about what the team and what's been going on, what's been happening.
Things couldn't be going better. So it's been just over 2 years now. We started our own brokerage. And, since we left a very viable organization, and we've always said we left on great terms, but our business has grown.
And what was the impetus for the move?
It was time for us. I think we had built our brand to the level where, we felt we could do our own thing. We could have our own independence, have our own different locations. So the master plan is pretty large, but the first step was obviously breaking off.
Yeah. And I think that's important to know that once you build, because it didn't matter. Sam McDadi could have been with ABC Realty. Nobody knew that. They wanted to be with Sam McDadi and friends, right? So I think if somebody's kind of starting out in the business, the question always begs, does brand matter? Or is it the individual that they're working with that matters? Or is it both? What would you say?
Oh, I think brand matters for sure, but I think at the end of the day, you can't hide behind the brand, because there's many realtors, for example, in some of the biggest organizations, and if you kind of break it down, some do very well, some are ethical, honest, some are maybe not so much so part of the same affiliation or brand. So brand does matter, but ultimately it's you who's going to determine your success.
Okay, no, very well put. You can't hide behind the brand. I mean, when I was in the buying and selling business, people didn't know. They always forgot who I was with. And I always would promote ravtoor.com, Ravtoor, just like McDadi.com. Now, I want to ask you, how much money did you pay to change your name from whatever it was to McDadi? Because that's just a crazy name, like McDadi. That's just, listen, you can't get a better name
I
thank
my parents for that. That was just happened to be, just the way it went. But it ended up being pretty cool.
And that's not an East Indian name?
It's not a Lebanese.
Lebanese name.
Yeah.
And you did not get into the world of real estate off the get-go. You're an avid and very good and professional, not anymore, but tennis player, and we're scholarship in the States. So talk about that whole kind of thing and how it got into real estate.
Sports of any level really, I believe, grooms you for the future. So you learn to be competitive. So I was a good tennis player. I appreciate the kind words. I wasn't quite at that pro level, but, good enough to obtain a tennis scholarship. So now, went down to the States. Now it was a real eye-opening experience to be in a different location, meet different people from all walks of life, people from Spain, Australia, Sweden, etc. So that was, a good stepping stone for me. Never thought about real estate as being a vocation, but when I finished my studies and I finished my, tennis career, then I went on and did a master's in business administration.
Wow. And where did you do the master's?
University of South Carolina, and the Gamecocks had the first pick for NCAA football, so which is pretty cool. But spent a couple years there as well. Came back, thought corporate world was going to be for me, and quickly realized that wasn't my calling. So sales.
So that's very interesting. Yeah. So hold on for a second. So you got a scholarship because of athleticism.
Yes.
Then you went to another school and got your MBA.
Yes.
And that whole time took how long?
6.5 years.
6.5 years to then realize, which is not wrong, that this is not what I want to do.
That's correct.
So often parents, it's okay for people to go to school and then realize this is not what I want to do, as opposed to, later in life, maybe I'll do this. Sometimes it takes money and time to realize this is great, I've got the knowledge, I don't want to do this. So that's what Sam McDadi realized. I don't want to get into corporate, affairs, if you will. You wanted to become your own businessman.
Yeah, and I wanted to be true to myself. And I realized when I was in the corporate world, time was passing so slowly. I was not really happy. Sunday night blues. So I thought, if I have to do this for 40, 50 years, this isn't really what I envisioned my life to be. So, and when I got into the real estate world, everything changed. It was something I was passionate about. And, of course, we built it on solid footing. So, it wasn't built overnight. But
so you look like you're 28, but you started really, how old were you when you started?
I was, 25 when I started.
25 when you started. And it's been such a great run over a couple decades, if we will,
For sure.
Yeah. No, that's...
Don't want to age, give my age away, but it's a couple decades plus.
Yeah, we're not going to say 45 plus on TV.
That's right.
That would be rude.
That wouldn't be very nice.
That wouldn't be very nice if Rav said that. No, Sam, I cherish our friendship. I admire you from afar and now up close. I can't wait to get into the numbers. You're a very smart man. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll dive right in. We're talking to my good friend Sam McDadi, #1 realtor really in the GTA here on the Treb market. Don't go anywhere. Lots of good stuff. Real Investment continues in a moment.